Hello and welcome to All for United. It is, of course, the Luton review. Myself and Dan are in the house at the moment. We are waiting for our very own John Commode. He should be with us from the Sunshine State of Florida very, very soon, hopefully. So, Dan, how's things, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thanks. I wish I was in sunny Florida at the moment, but it's absolutely pouring down where I am.
Oh, is it raining? Is it? It's not raining here, but there's definitely a chill
Yeah,
in the air.
cold.
Yeah. So how was your yesterday then? How was your events from yesterday?
Yeah.
Johnny K is arriving now, so I'll bring him in while you're talking.
Yeah. All right, John. Yeah. No. I thought the game yesterday. I watched it. There was a lot of negatives, but I did try and pick out a few positives, and I thought Maguire and Lindelof at the back were fairly solid, but again, they didn't have a great deal to do either. You know, Luton were there to be beat, and we made it look really hard work.
Yes. Yeah. Johnny, welcome.
Yeah, sorry for being late. I had a few computer issues. But
no worries, mate. How's sunny Florida? It's looking sunny again.
It was yesterday. It's a bit overcast today, though. So, but it still feels slightly humid, though. So
it's still probably about what is it? 30, 20 out there, 30, something like that.
Probably something like that. Yeah, maybe mid to late 20s, possibly.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's a hard life, gents. Look, wow. Yesterday's game. Look, I was on the show last night, and there was accusations that we were being a little bit too sensationalist. That potentially the result wasn't as bad as we all think. 3 points is 3 points. I've always been the opinion that 3 points is 3 points. But we've got to turn a corner at some point. We have to turn this corner of starting to play football better than what we are. And the players have got to start to understand the fans' frustration. Match-going fans as well as fans all across the globe. That we're just not performing at the level expected from Manchester United footballers. I think you're right, Dan. I think Luton were there to be beaten for sure. I think if they'd gone away with a draw, they would have been happy. Lest we forget, I think Liverpool just beat them, didn't they, last time out? Was it 2-1? Was it last minute goal or was it a draw?
No, it was
1-1 draw. That's it. It was a 1-1 draw. So lest we forget that the Scouts have struggled with them and they've breezed past, Brentford today. And also, lest we forget, we're very much within touching distance of top four. And we haven't even begun to play anything like the type of football we should be playing. So I, for one, am feeling a hell of a lot better about the result than yesterday. And so, yeah. So, well, let's drill down into it then. There's three facets of a game of football for me. There's the points at the end of it. There's a team performance and player performance. So first and foremost, let's start with the point side of it. What does that mean? Was it a must-win game for us, as the press and the detractors were suggesting, or was it just another game for Manchester United in our season? What do we think?
Go on,
no, go on, John.
Yeah,
either one of you. Sorry, yes. Sorry, either one of you.
Well, yeah, as I would say, every game is a must-win game. So yeah, it was absolutely a must-win game. And, obviously I was on the review of Copenhagen, and I did say that I felt yesterday I had a feeling that we would get a few. And we seriously had the chances to get a few yesterday. Yes. And, we just didn't take them, sadly. And because I used to think like Copenhagen, okay, we lost, but at least we looked decent for a fair chunk of that game, particularly before Rashford's red card and that. And that's where I thought maybe with the momentum, taking the good bits of that game might carry us through against Brentford. We did great chances. I don't personally. Some say it was terrible performance. I don't think it was a terrible performance But the problem is we didn't take easy ourselves, which we ought to have done by, scoring maybe 3 or 4 with the chance is that we had. And, it is bizarre that we are hanging on in these games, but, a lot of the time when you've been struggling, these grubby little 1-0 wins sometimes can allow you to build momentum in a strange way. I do think we did deserve to win the game, but I just think that, the horrible thing is, and particularly among our forwards, is that virtually all of them are out of form. And I don't, and you think as a manager with Ten Hag, like usually you might have 1, maybe 2 your forwards out of form, but usually there's 3 or 4 others who will score you the goals. But it seems to be, Højlund's getting them in Europe, but not in the Premier League. Rashford ain't scoring. Garnacho isn't. Anthony isn't. Balestri isn't. Martial isn't. And you're just like, how do you fix that as a manager if so many of your players are actually out of form and you're relying on midfielders like McTominay, Lindelof, Maguire? Okay, Bruno Fernandes capable of scoring a goal, but it's just like, I can't even explain how so many of our players were out of form. It just seems completely bizarre, and I don't know what you can do about that. As manager, of course, you can keep practicing, shooting and training, but I'm sure they'll do that all the time. And for some reason, when it comes to the pressure being through on goal, like, Højlund had a chance in the first few minutes. Garnacho tried to do whatever when he was going through. Rashford had a chance, and you're just like, well, I can't even explain. I don't think anyone can explain it. It's like, how can you? A manager's not responsible for you. They do say the hardest thing in football is to put the ball in the net, and there's no replacement for a pure goal scorer. Like someone who knows where to put the ball back in the net. Højlund might be capable in the future, but he's still young. He's still developing at the moment, but I don't know what the matter is with the team. But that being said, the form table says we're the most informed team. We won 4 out of 5.
It does indeed. Yeah, it does indeed.
Doesn't it? And you look at things that I've been watching, some of the results, like, when we lost to Brighton, they were 6 points ahead of us, and we talk, De Zerbi, some people said, he's a better manager than Ten Hag. All of a sudden, Browns have only won 1 league game since then. We're 4 points ahead of them. This informed Newcastle team progress and all that. Well, they're 1 point behind us. Now, and then you look at the goal difference of Brighton and Newcastle, it's far superior to us. And then, we're not scoring enough goals, but somehow, I think we've won 5 out of 7 in the league, haven't we?
We have, yeah. We're staying in touch. We're within touching distance of where we need to be.
Yeah, but I just think that no, I don't think it was a terrible performance. We should have won by more. That's my biggest issue with it. But if you keep picking up wins, even if it's by the odd goal, you will go up the league, won't you?
Well, that's all. That's all football's about, isn't it? Dan, what do you moving on from what John was saying, what do you think the issue is with our strikers at the minute? I don't believe in confidence in football, by the way. I think you just get on with it. Stop your wins and get on with it. So
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree with you too. I think the worrying part for me, I posted yesterday that it was a bit of a tough watch, and I didn't mean necessarily that it was a lot of boring football as such. We created enough chances, but for me, every time they got near the box or near the final third, you could see the panic. Like Garnacho had a chance where he jinked past a couple of players and he just absolutely blazed it over the bar. And you think, just that little bit of composure. Rashford had his chance in the second half or first half where he took a touch. And I think if he was playing well, he'd have whipped that in the far corner, first touch. He wouldn't have needed a touch. And I just think it's, like you say there, about confidence. I think they do lack it, but for me, at that level, you shouldn't need to be that confident. Like, a lot of it was basic stuff. Like Højlund, we're saying give him service, and the chance he missed, you should be burying them. Like, I'm not being
should have gone with his head. Should have gone with his head, Dan. Should have dipped with his head. He would have scored.
Yeah, 100%. I know I'm maybe being a little bit ultra critical. You know, it was a good save, but from that far out, as long as you're getting a good connection, which was what he got on it, it should be going in the net. You know, and then it's a totally different game because that was like 3-4 minutes in. You know, that would have settled everybody down, and it could have been a 3-4-0. You know, demolition after that. But for me, I don't know how like John said, I don't know how Ten Hag fixes it, as there's only so much confidence a manager can try and give them. You know, they need to own up and do it themselves. You know, get a bit of responsibility on their own backs, and that's kind of one of the big problems for me. There's nobody taking a real responsibility and ownership of how it's going at the moment.
So there's this huge call, isn't there, in the minute? You know, Ten Hag's on his last legs constantly, all the time. Do you change him? Don't you change him? Clearly, you don't change him because, you know, we're going to be in the same boat in 18 months' time if we do change him, because this group of players, for whatever reason, can have one good season, then think, well, we've had one good season, we'll take the next season off. It's very, very strange. Look, I'm actually kind of on the fence with yesterday. I thought it was okay in many parts. But equally, I thought it was poor in many parts, really. And people talk about, well, what can Ten Hag fix? Well, it's the players have got to fix themselves first. It's they're the only ones that can affect what happens in a football match, not what the gaffer says. You listen to the gaffer intently before you go out. You listen to the gaffer intently at half time, and then as soon as you're back in that changing room, you start to dissect it immediately. That game. In fact, when you're walking off the pitch, you start to dissect immediately what went wrong, what went right, and then we don't seem to be doing that. And I think our biggest problem at the moment is personality. We don't have big personalities in our changing room. There's not huge personalities like you used to see with Schmeichel, Van Nistelrooy, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Cantona, Keane, Scholes, Beckham, Giggs, Rooney. These are all big personalities. Ibrahimovic. This is the reason why they wanted to bring these older players in, because they've got this personality. You look at Ibrahimovic and you study what he does, pre-match, during the match, and after match. You study what time he gets to train, and which boot does he put on first? Why does he do that? You study all aspects of him. And to be a great footballer, you must learn all aspects of your discipline. And our players don't seem to want to do that, and it's absolutely ridiculous at times. But as much as we are pissed off as fans, we are the form team in the Premier League. Irrespective of what Gabby Agbonlahor talks about, or any pundit or any fans around, we are there. And the players have got to take that as some kind of comfort. If I was Rashford, I wouldn't be going away with England. I'd be staying and trying to work on my finishing. Højlund, again, I thought he should have scored, I have to say, but his overall play I thought was excellent again. Garnacho was unlucky, because if you look at the position from behind, kind of behind Garnacho, he actually got it round the keeper, and he was just about to strike, and it was a good tackle, but he was too slow. If he'd actually hit it first time, I think we would have 100% would have scored. But we are getting into these positions and we are creating chances. But goals win football matches. It's as simple as that. We're not. We're defending better. Again, I thought Maguire was stellar. I really did. I thought he had a really, really good game. I'm really pleased for him. Lindelof came in instead of Varane. I don't know what issues that Ten Hag has with Varane at the moment, or Varane has with Ten Hag, but I thought that was interesting. So I think all in all, yes, we laboured to a result, but it doesn't matter how you get to a win. And Johnny's heard me say this a million times. We could have 99% possession. It's an absolute irrelevance if you don't hit the onion bag. If that net isn't bulging, it's an irrelevance how much possession you have. It just doesn't mean anything. So I'm kind of okay with it, really, as we are. Yes, and look, some footballers require confidence. I'm going to just go with NT. A lot of footballers don't require confidence. They just tuck in a skirt and they get on with it. I think the modern day player, Dan and Johnny, you'll both be able to relate to this, needs more confidence than my generation of footballer. Because my generation of footballer, you had a different aspect to the game. Not only did you have poor pitches, poor footballs, not the best boots, you were being clattered for 90% of the game, and you can't do that. So I totally agree with you, but I think it is more of a modern day footballer that requires the confidence level. Johnny, anything to add, mate?
Yeah, I think it's just because you got to look at the role of social media as well, because when this confidence thing, it's like, you could abuse players in the past, usually at your local pub or whatever, that player won't hear it. Whereas now, like, you can easily abuse a player online, and they will see it. And this is what I mean. Like, I don't get this constant bashing of players. We've seen it with Maguire, and now all of a sudden he looks like he's overcome that. And now all of a sudden he looks like he's playing on that. But and this is what I mean. Like, when you question players' passion and that kind of thing, it's like, well, football's mainly with your brain, really. And plenty of players who don't have a brain, and I just think that I do get it is frustrating that we should have won by more, but we played shit. Well, no, we didn't play. We didn't actually play shit. We just didn't bury our chances, and there's a difference. We should have won by more yesterday. That's the way I look at it and think we did everything right, apart from putting it in the net, apart from Lindelof. So, if you're saying we should win by more, it doesn't mean you played badly. It just means you didn't finish it off. So for me, you got to be responsible with what you're saying. My process isn't, oh, that player was shit, that player was shit, that player was shit. I was like, well, actually, a good number of our players did actually play well yesterday, apart from where it really mattered. So for me, when people see abuse online, it can impact them. And obviously, I mentioned on the show, there's this shadow over the club regarding the ownership. Many people have left the club in the background, and certain people positions. That's going to affect the players on the football pitch, believe or not. If the manager doesn't know he's safe, the players won't know they're safe, and the coach won't know they're safe. So it will affect everything. This is why I think you need to get this issue resolved sooner rather than later, and hopefully that we will.
Well, we hear it's going to be next week, don't we?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah. This week.
Once you get that structure in place, and it needs to happen as soon as possible, that will give a bit more clarity, and hopefully that will lead to a bit more positivity in the club, hopefully, and it'll hopefully be better run, and therefore that will give people more confidence, hopefully. So I think everything's affecting everything at the moment. So
yeah, no, definitely. So my good old mate Jarvis has posted quite an interesting question. Is there a chance our club has become such a circus it's become difficult to keep focus on drills and training? I don't disagree with that. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was actually talking about this with my friend yesterday. I was saying about, we're such a PR club, aren't we, where we have to go to America pre-season, and we always have to venture so far away and go around the world traveling and that to do our pre-season. And then we wonder why 3-4 weeks into the season, the players are getting injured, because they've been jet lagged, they've been traveling half around the world for pointless friendlies that they could play in this country just to get match fit. And then obviously I think it was yesterday, a new range of Adidas, like lounge wear that we've, just announced.
Right. Yeah,
and like that, and you think, just focus on what matters. Luke Shaw's out injured and he's here modelling, this new loungewear that we're selling, and I just think, we're so focused on where we make the next pound or the next tenner that we don't think what's going on the pitch matters, and unfortunately, that on the pitch suffers because of this, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dan. Look, I think you're right. I think it's ironic that Marcus Rashford had his very first signature boot released over the last few weeks. I find that quite ironic. Yes, when that was planned with Nike 18 months ago, he was scoring 30 goals, etc., etc., etc. Now he's completely lost whatever impetus and any ideas and understanding of how to play football at this point in time, which is very, very strange. But you make a really good point about our commercial activities, and our commercial activities obviously run the business, run the football side of it. John, I think you're also right. For me, though, if I'm a player, I shut all that out anyway, because my job is to concentrate on playing football. It's not to worry about what's happening, at boardroom level or what's happening with the club itself. It is about playing football. Yeah,
absolutely.
And sometimes our players forget that. There's very weird things are happening around the club. Roy Keane has suddenly come out and started modelling Adidas gear and stuff of that nature, and I'm just wondering what on earth is going on there.
I don't think there's. I think you underestimate how badly we run in the background. Like,
it's terrible.
There are probably stories, and I mentioned on the last show when on the Sir Alex, everyone had the same purpose for success. Chief executive, the receptionist, whatever. It was all one club. If you're hearing, there are probably some stuff we don't know about that's happening at the club, which if we found out, we'd be, how on earth can you treat staff like that? And this is where, if you see staff in the background, I do personally think that will affect the team, unfortunately. So if there's a lot of background noise and you're hearing stuff, but us fans aren't hearing about it, people losing their position, that is going to affect everything. And this is why I think it needs to be resolved quickly. As for the actual players, I go back to yesterday, it's like concentration. Garnacho and Rashford will bury those chances on the training ground. Yeah, for some reason. And I think it's one of them. As soon as they get one, they'll probably score 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll see. I remember years ago, Diego Forlan had that problem, didn't he? Where he went 13 goals, 13 matches.
I was at that game against Southampton.
Yeah, it was out of a strike. all of a sudden, he can't get the top off because it was a double layered top, wasn't it?
He got his first one, which was a penalty, but then he got an equaliser against Phil, which was a big moment. Then he one against Southampton. It's Anfield. It's all.
So let's go back to personalities then in the squad, because I think that's our biggest problem. I mean, a lot of I hear and I talk to fans a lot about when we bring players through, what happens to them, why we gone and sold Iqbal, because he looked like a talent, why we got rid of Chong, etc., etc., etc. And these guys, the difficulty in finding your way through to the first team at Old Trafford, as opposed to finding your way through to the first team, even at City at the time, when Foden was coming through, Everton, Liverpool, it's a lot easier than finding your way through, because for whatever reason, the fans are demanding these huge summer signings. Fans were getting giddy, weren't they, when we thought Qatar was going to be taken over? Well, we're bound to, we could get Mbappe, and I'm like, for God's sake, what do we want him for? And all this kind of nonsense. When we've got players like Mino, we've got Hannibal, we've got Garnacho. We need to nurture these players, but when they're looking and they're in that dressing room and looking around, if I'm a young player, I'm looking and thinking, well, who can I really rely on today? If I get into a bit of a scuffle or I get into a bit of a problem, I give 3 or 4 balls away. Who's gonna pep me up? Who's gonna G me up? Who's gonna help coach me through the game? Who's gonna be talking to me constantly? I don't see that in our starting 11, which is a real shame, because we've got some wonderfully talented footballers. We really have some wonderfully talented footballers, but we're just not coming together. So, Dan, I'll ask you this: do you think personality is affecting our younger players, and what can Ten Hag do to really start knitting us together at the minute? Because I'm for one where I love attacking, entertaining football. If you saw the City-Chelsea game, like everybody did today, everybody's going, wow, this is what football's about, isn't it? You know, a couple of dodgy decisions, the penalty, Haaland was clearly pulling Cucurella, but, and everything about that game was great because Chelsea just would not give up. Bang, 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 bang. Luton just wouldn't give up yesterday at us. Brentford never gave up. Brighton don't give up. Teams don't give up against us, and we kind of fall back into this mediocre style of play. And I'm wondering what Ten Hag can do to start pounding it into these players. Do not give up, even if you can't walk at the end of the game. Don't give up, because we as fans would love that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think just touching on the character side of it, I think everyone goes on about the class of '92 and how amazing that was. I was a kid. I've loved every minute of all that, with my dad going to loads of games and that. But people forget when they come into the team that you had Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Eric Cantona, Peter Schmeichel, Roy Keane, players like that to nurture them young players. Whereas I think now, like you just touched on there, if I'm Hannibal in that dressing room yesterday, I look round and I look at, just because he come through the youth, you'd be looking at players like Marcus Rashford as like someone to inspire you, because you'd be thinking, well, he's been on the same journey as me.
Yeah.
And you think, right, can I rely on him today? And to be honest, this isn't me going in on Rashford. I like Rashford, but I don't think he's had a good game in about 6 to 8 months. And I think you can't rely on, it's like Bruno, yes, he doesn't stop running, that kind of thing. But again, is he the kind of captain that we're used to having, where he'll grab the game by the scruff of the neck, someone's gave the ball away 3-4 times, does he go and put his arm around him and say, look, just look after the ball a bit more, be more protective of the ball? Or does he throw his arms up in the air and start stropping and twining away? Because we all know what he does, arms in the air and things like that. And I do think it's just lack of characters, and it does worry you, because like you say, these young players, it's not the best environment for them to come through. We're not going to get the best of Hannibal, we're not going to get the best of Mainu when they're coming into a side playing the way we're playing, where it's kind of like we're just going from game to game, trying to get through games. And I worry for the young lads, because I feel like they should have more, because we're Manchester United, we should have more to help them with their development. And it's, other than loaning them out, to a another club maybe in the Premier League, like a Brentford or somewhere like that, to get them that game time. I just see Ten Hag at the moment sticking with the players that are winning the games for him. And it was like I was saying yesterday, McTominay, Lindelof, Maguire, these are players we're all of a sudden relying on. But in the summer, Ten Hag wanted to sell Maguire, McTominay. I'm not so sure on Lindelof, but he definitely wanted rid of McTominay and Maguire.
He did.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now they're our best players. It's just all a bit confusing.
No, it is. So, and I suppose my question is the same to you, John. If you're Hannibal or you're Kobe Maino and you're looking around for inspiration, and you see Scott McTominay ahead of you, I'm not having to go at McTominay either, but I'm just saying there's a certain caliber of footballer that you want to be looking at. Phil Foden, what is he, 23, 24, 22? Hasn't he got something like 5 Premier League winners' medals already in his back pocket? He looks around that changing room and he sees Rodri. Oh, thank God Rodri's playing today. Brilliant. He sees Diaz. Excellent. He sees Carl Walker. I know he's got him past. Nobody's getting past Walks today. I'm all right.
Well, Sterling did, though, didn't they?
Yeah, he did. But as I'm saying, but that's the type. That's what you do. You look around. Gary Neville will look around. He's got, oh, God, Schmeichels is there. Yeah, he's going to give me a bollocking. Or I've got to be 100% today. I'm going to get it, because if I don't get it off him, I'm going to get it off fucking Keane. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, and Bruce. These players know that. We don't have that look. And I'm not talking, by the way, people who are watching are in the comments. I'm not harping back to yesteryear. I'm just talking about general football, just football in general, because that's what should happen. You should be not fearful of making a mistake, because everybody makes mistakes in life, but it means you're actually involved in the game if you do make a mistake, and that's absolutely, absolutely brilliant. Drex, something we've spoke about, buddy. Exactly what you just said. So yeah, John. So we're talking about team formations and obviously team. What can Eric, the master, do between now and maybe the end of the year? Because he's got to safeguard himself, but he's also got to safeguard Manchester United, and we are within a ridiculous. I know again, and we come back to it. We're in touching distance of top four, and irrespective of what any pundit is saying, we don't deserve to be there. Well, actually, we do.
We do.
We do.
The league table doesn't lie, and I think he's just got to. It's that siege mentality us against the world, isn't it? And I think that he's just got to try and use that. We are grand, but we don't. You can say we've won 7 games in the league, more than by a goal, which isn't great, but we haven't drawn a game yet.
Exactly right.
So you can use that and say, well, actually, we are. It shows character to win 7 games by a goal in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you gotta use that, and I don't think he'll use that as like, oh, we've won 5 in a row or whatever. But it's that, and even in games which we've lost, particularly in the Champions League, you can say, but all our Champions League games which we lost have only been by a goal. We're very much in all those games, weren't we? We can say, oh, it wasn't great, but you can still use that. Well, at times we have played well, and I think he obviously he'll hope this ownership thing is sorted soon, certainly, because that will give clarity to the team. But as for we got some really tough games coming up. We got Everton. In the next month.
Won again, didn't they today? Everton 3-2. We play Everton on the return.
We play Everton 2-1, and traditionally we are slow after international breaks. So game, but then we've got Newcastle away, we've got Liverpool away, and we got West Ham away, all within there.
It's really interesting. It's massively interesting. I think that weekend we come back because we've got Everton away.
Well, I think that's
City have got Liverpool at home on the Saturday and an early kickoff.
Well, that's what I mean. Let's say, for argument's sake, that City-Liverpool game, let's say that finishes a draw, let's say. So we'll be 8 points off City. So then if we go to Everton, we'll be 5 points behind them. It's crazy when you think of it.
I know we are all talking, aren't we, about how badly we're playing, but football is just about winning games. Yeah, and this is, I think a lot of our players are lazy. I do. I think we are lazy in patches during games. We're lazy in patches during games. We switch off in patches during games. Our football common sense disappears out the window. And they think they're playing FIFA themselves. They're just running around and not really contributing to the. And then all of a sudden we put a 30-second to a 2-minute spell together. That's all it is. And then we go ahead and we get that goal. We get that goal within that very, very short period. And then we can go either way, can't we? We were conceding straight, within 5 minutes. Now we're holding our own. Anana's much better, isn't he? He's actually concentrating and doing what he should be doing at the first time. That's actually keeping goal. So he's doing that. Maguire's coming and steadied our defence. It'd be interesting to see what happens when Leach comes back in January, when Casemiro comes back in January. Just see where we are. I think Højlund will 100% come good. I think he's a brilliant striker, but he's there. I can moan at him for missing it. But he was there where we needed him to be because Martial wouldn't have been there and Rashford wouldn't have been there if we were playing.
I think this is where we got, when you go back to Ten Hag, what he's got to do. All of a sudden, Nana's second in the league for clean sheets now, 4. So we are. There's
only Pope that's ahead of him, isn't there?
Yeah, and we've also had. I think we've got the best stats for winning the ball in the final third, but we're not converting that to goals. And as mad as it sounds, we're not actually that far away. We just got to try and get that,
Yeah.
not like, I'm not saying winning the league. I'm talking about we're actually not that far away from clicking. We just got to try and learn to bury our chances. We are creating chances, and we are, some of the stats do back. Oh, we are in form. We haven't drawn.
Here's the thing then, Johnny, right? And let me put this to you, right? Yeah. I've seen loads of messages, and they're perfectly sane messages saying, well, you'd have been all right if we'd won 4-0. But what actually, and Dan, coming after this, mate, what actually does a 4-0 win achieve as opposed to a 1-0 win? What does it in our current state? I'm talking right now, our current state, what does that achieve? Do we then go ahead and win? If we don't win 4-0 next time out against Everton and we sneak a 1-0, what are we thinking as a fan base? Are we thinking, well, hold on, we battered Luton 4-0, but we can't do Everton? Or is just at this point in time, which I'm of the opinion, just win a game of football and see where it takes us? And NT makes a good point. And he's right about the consistency side of it until we get Leacher and Shaw back in, because we are a higgledy-piggledy outfit at the moment, aren't we? I asked somebody yesterday, where's Donny van der Beek?
Is he out of the Premier League squad?
I don't know.
I can't remember which one, but I think
he was in I thought he was out of the Champions League. But
was it Champions League? Or
no, I can't remember. He was on the bench, wasn't he, a week or two ago? But where is he? Why can't Donny van der Beek right now find his way into that team?
It makes you wonder if something hasn't gone on behind the scenes or something, because you think how could he do any worse than some of the performances we've seen in that midfield this season?
No, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah,
like it does make you wonder if something's went on that we don't know. But I do feel for him. I feel like we've probably ruined his career, to be honest, to an extent, because when he was at Ajax, there was numerous teams after him, and we tried to shut him out. Nobody wanted him.
Real Madrid. Yeah, that's right. Drax is saying he's not in the UCL, he's in the EPL. Yeah, I thought he was. But where is he? Where's he? You've got this ongoing bollocks with Sancho. Yeah. Deal with him, drag him. I don't care who you are, you petulant kid. Get out there and play, earn your money. We're paying him to do what at the moment?
Well, it's interesting that Pep called out. Can't pronounce his name. Gavhole, is it? Today, yeah. So he called him out for not training properly, and he played him today.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what you do. You haven't trained properly, you're going to get found out, mate.
Yeah,
get it. You're playing, and he did all right actually. That Guardiola, didn't he? He was okay. The bit was just a great game of football, anyway. It was. Yeah, it was just a brilliant game of football. But yeah, so going back to where we are we wanting this? Are we bothered about the amount of goals we're scoring or not scoring? And is it just about the points? Because to me, right now, where we are in our cycle, it's just about the points. If we can hang in there till Christmas, if we can hang in there, whatever, if Jim comes in with this, 1.25 bill, which I still think is a very, very strange deal. But anyway, I think it's a weird deal, but there you go. And they spend again, but who are you going to get? Are we going to have to get players in from Nice? I quite like that centre half we discussed. We've been talking about.
He's likely, I think. I think
he'll be like, because he wants to come, doesn't he? But what is going to happen? Do you think if we, can we hang in there till Christmas with playing the way that we are, with the games we've got coming up, and the players and the personnel that we've got? Can we hang in there till Christmas?
I think this is where it's interesting, because December it tends to be the time of the season where, after the November international break, that's when results start to really matter.
Exactly.
And I think nobody goes through December without dropping points. No team, not even the brilliant Man City. They'll drop points in a couple of games. They will, because of the fixture congestion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like I say, it's a case of who will have the best December, really. Because and when you look at, I mean, it's a big worry our away form, albeit we've won the last 3 on the road in the league, but it's just kind of like, Newcastle, Everton's a tricky one, as we know, but we should be able to go there and win. Newcastle one's an interesting one because they got injuries, and obviously they have that mentality they want to beat us. We've obviously got that game after Galatasaray away, but it's interesting. They also play Paris Saint-Germain away the same week, which is interesting. So you look at that game and you're like, you don't have to necessarily win every game as well. You just need to go unbeaten. Like, we haven't drawn any games and that. And usually if you draw too many games, like on the Mourinho when we had unbeaten run 20.
Yeah, but we drew a lot, didn't we?
It's kind of like you'd rather have lost 2 of them if it meant winning 4 of them, for example. So, whereas now you're in the mentality going to, you look at West Ham, Liverpool, and Newcastle. If you can get 4 points or 5 points from those games, if you were to draw at Newcastle, somehow get a draw at Anfield and beat West Ham, you look at that and think that's actually pretty good. So
you would. I'll lay it on the line now. Our turning point for the season is going to be Everton away. Right now, the way that Everton are playing, they pegged back twice, weren't they, yesterday? Beat Palace 3-2.
Yeah. And they're picking up. They beat Brentford.
They
beat West Ham. They beat West Ham, and
they're playing very, very well.
With Brighton, so they're in.
Now, if we can go to Goodison Park and come away with a 1-0 win, I think we'll all be very, very happy.
And I think going back to the 1-0. Sorry, Stu, but if you go back to 1-0, if we win a game 4-0, it's like, United are back in form.
But we're not.
And I actually think it suits us in answering crisis. While in the background, we won 4 out of 5.
Because I don't think 4-0 doesn't put us back in form. The mighty Tipton Town Super Vets played today. we played a friendly against a team from Rico, 21-year-old, 22-year-olds, and we got beat 1-0 because we're all 50 plus, running around chasing the 21-year-old for 90 minutes doesn't go, especially on AstroTurf. But we played with our heads. We just played football purely and simply with our heads. Got a dodgy decision against us, as I claimed to the referee, although I was nothing to do with that upending of said forward at the time. But we played with our heads. When we get at Everton, if we can play with our heads, and as you say, Johnny and Dan, come away with maybe a 1-0 win, that to me is better than beating Luton 4-0.
Yeah.
Because, people will say United are back. That's it. We're not back. We're not back.
And this is a funny thing. People saying, people moaning about, we beat Luton 1-0. Tottenham only beat them 1-0. Liverpool drew 1-1 with them.
Yeah, exactly. And you got Gabby Agbonlahor saying, United squad, 100 mil, and Luton's only with 6 mil. Well, mate, 3 seasons ago, where were they?
Exactly. And it's Aussie's mentality as well. So and also like Sheffield United, we beat them 2-1. I thought it was awful performance. Again, we should have scored more in. Well, City only beat them 2-1. Tottenham needed 2 goals of injury time to beat them, and trying to think, so I think Arsenal battered them, obviously Newcastle battered them, but, this kind of thing, like, we're quietly picking up results, like, we beat Fulham 1-0. You know, Fulham, that's a difficult place to go to.
But we are quietly picking up results, and everybody's having a pop at us. Everyone's having a go at us, and we won. Yeah, we won. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
But we won. But Everton, I think, will be a massive. It'll be a real barometer for us now, and I think Ten Hag will be looking at that and thinking, you know, if I can keep you back from international duty, if I can keep you here, because Fergie would have said, "You ain't going, mate."
This is what I mean. Like, you got to look at it like Everton, Newcastle next to away game. Right, 4 points.
I totally agree, John.
Then you think Liverpool, West Ham in December, 4 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, this way
West Ham are a bit dodgy at the minute. Liverpool can go either way, can't they? I mean, they obviously turned over Brentford quite
I think Anfield is a bit. I think we'd snap your hand off for a point at Anfield. But even then, it's just like these little things like you don't have to win every game. That's a good point for City at Chelsea.
It's a great point for Chelsea as well, isn't it? Because Chelsea have had their problems, and all of a sudden
beat them 2-0 the other week,
battered them as well. But all of a sudden,
Chelsea all of a sudden, they're out form against Tottenham and 1-4-1 because it was up against them. And today, all of a sudden, it's like, where's this come from? You know, kind of thing.
It was absolutely brilliant. It's good to see that. I mean, again, we sit here tonight. 7 points off top of first place. 7 points off first place. That's 2 wins, guys, and a draw. You know, that's all it is. You know, and I know City gave us a lesson, but beat us really comfortably, didn't they? You know, City did.
But that's what I mean. Like, you think of that run we had. I looked at the games we had between, you know, Sheffield United, City, Fulham, and Luton.
Yeah.
I will say it's like, right, this is where we can go on a run here. Maybe get a draw against City. I would have taken 10 points from those games, but I looked at Sheffield United, Fulham, Luton, right, win those 3. And we've done it. You know, we did lose City, but, you know, if someone gave you 10 points from those games, we would have taken them. We've got 9. So, you know, it's not...
We were lucky against Tottenham, John. Dan, I thought we were lucky against Tottenham.
We're very unlucky at Arsenal.
Yeah, extremely. You know, Garnacho's goal on another day, like the Endo challenge today, for example. How he gets away with that?
Imagine if that Garnacho goal had stood.
Yeah, we'd have beaten Arsenal.
Yeah. I think Spurs was probably the best we've maybe played all season.
We were superb at Tottenham, weren't we? You know, we played really, really well. So that kind of brings me up to the final section. Do you know, fellas, we've been chinwagging and laughing and having a good old chat for 48 minutes. It's flown by. It really has flown by, hasn't it? So it just brings me up to the last segment now, really. I don't know. I don't want to particularly talk about player power anymore because I'm a bit fed up with it. You know, I'm fed up with the modern day player as opposed to the player in my day and all that kind of stuff. So I want to put a bit of a different spin on it. If you guys were turning out and you're both wearing the fabled number 7 and you walk out, what would be your ideal day? You know, how would you prepare? What would you want from the coaching staff? What would you want to give to the coaching staff? How would you handle being a Manchester United player for a day?
I mean, for me, I'd be thinking, there must be hard up if I'm wearing the number 7. But
well, Dan, I totally agree, pal. But you know, just say you were decent. Just say you could play. No, I'm joking, mate. I'm joking.
No, I agree. No, for me, I think it's all in the preparation. I think you would have to make sure you're in the right headspace. You're surrounding yourself with the right people, the coaching staff. You're working on the things that you know what your job is. You know what you need to do. And for me, it'd just be all about trying to keep it as simple as possible and not get overwrought with the occasion and the situation itself. I think say you're number 7, so you're on the right wing. You just make sure you're doing the basics. You're doing everything right in training and hope that it comes together on the day for me. But it's like we said earlier, to me, it's more down to the player. I think the player needs to be doing everything right. turning up on time, all the simple things that people maybe don't think about. And I think if you get somebody like that just wants to do the basics, do everything right, do everything properly, then everything else can come in time. The quality, the finishing touches, that all comes with the game time. I think, just do the basics, do the right things, turn up on time, all the similar stuff.
And any superstitions would you have?
I mean, I've got one anyways. When I played darts, because I used to play darts for my local team and stuff. I always used to put my socks on left foot first because I'm a lefty, so first and then right foot. But as far as that's it for superstitions.
Excellent. Lucky pants for me. I've had these football shreddies for 25 years, and they are shreddies now, I tell you. But lucky pants. The lads, they hate them. But I've been wearing them for absolutely years, and I have to wear my lucky pants if I don't wear those. What am I going to do? Go like that. John, what would you do? How would you prepare yourself if you were wearing the fabled number 7? By the way, Dan, when I asked you that, mate, you grin like a schoolboy. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
that's how it should be. That's exactly what it should be. And these players should be grinning like schoolboys every day.
They should be. I agree.
Yeah. No, I would just personally, I personally won't want that much information or that much advice. I just, like Dan says, I just train very hard. Run, practice, shooting, crossing, that kind of thing. Just say, like Beckham, just land on the sixpence, that kind of thing. And just train hard, work hard. I wouldn't, as for listening to the coach, you shouldn't really need to listen to the coach because you should know what your role is anyway. And I wouldn't really want anyone to say much. I mean, maybe the manager just, like that United clip with David Tennant, when it was Charlton's debut, he's like, don't play their game, you play your game. Just, that's it. Thanks, boss. That's all I need to know. So I wouldn't want that much. I'm Roy Keane mentality. You're there, you do your job, that kind of thing. And as for superstitions, I'm the opposite to that, right foot for me. And also when I step onto the pitch, it's like funny thing with me with staircases, the final foot when you step on it has to be my right foot. It's superstition, but you gotta set off on the right foot, pardon the pun. So that would be my superstition, but just focus on the game and do your job, simple instructions and ready to go.
Well, for me, gents, I'd be preparing just like the lad from the Dog and Duck, bacon and egg sandwich in the morning. It's just like the old Carlsberg advert, when Charlton was there. Dog and Duck, come on, lads, come and pick me up now. You've got to. It's always a fascinating question. I think that because, we all like to think we could play for the greatest club on planet Earth. We'd all love to play for the greatest club on planet Earth, but nobody ever says how they would be. If you could just step into that for a day, it would be the most phenomenal thing ever. And I sometimes think that because these players are doing it day in, day out, week in, week out, it's a nothing to them. And I think they need to get back to, what it was that made them desperate to play for Manchester United in the first place. When that call came through and your agent says, you don't believe it, what Man United are in for you. What? Get me there. Just get me there. Don't even talk to me. Get me there. I want to be there in a week. Where's all that gone? It should never be when you walk through the door at any football club, by the way, but certainly at Manchester United, that you forget why you wanted to be there in the first place. You haven't made it when you walk through that door. You haven't done anything. You haven't earned the right yet to pull on the shirt. And I want our players to do that again. I want our players to get back to having that pride of just pulling on that shirt, walking out and, in awe, and then forgetting what's around you, because the very, very best players can forget 76,000 screaming fans. They can. They zone out and they concentrate on what they're doing. I'd just like to see us get back to that. So, guys, we're almost at an hour. It's been a brilliant chat. It's been absolutely amazing.
I'll tell you what,
Flew by.
I must say that it was a tremendous weekend of Premier League football.
Oh, it's been great, hasn't it? It has been.
I don't think that, I mean, we didn't touch upon there, because there were a couple of interesting time where the defender grabbed hold of Maguire, which we didn't see the replay off for some weird reason. But I'm glad that it's been a weekend where VAR has virtually not intervened, and that, and I think there's something about the first game, the early kickoff on a Saturday, when you get a good Saturday lunchtime kickoff, it's the rest of the weekend, and I think that Wolves comeback.
Oh, it's tremendous, wasn't it?
And I just think that that set off for all, and Palace, Everton.
What game that was?
Yeah, Palace, Everton, West Ham, Forest. And
that was 3-2, wasn't it? That was 3-2
to Bournemouth, Newcastle, and finally Chelsea City. It's just been. Just found having discovered my faith in football.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was a couple of contentious VARs one definitely in the City game. Jamie Carragher made a really good point. He made a really good point. The replay was Cucurella pulling, but they didn't show the start of it where Cucurella's being pulled. It was really interesting. I made a point about the Rashford penalty sending off. I didn't think it was a sending off, but his awareness of where the player was wasn't quite right, because the actual leg that he used to unfortunately stand on the ankle was his leverage. That was to keep him steady, so we could. So it was one of those unfortunate things, really, and I could see why it was given, but I didn't necessarily agree with it, because at no point did Rashford look around. And then you've got some of it, like the Endo tackle today was just abysmal.
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen it. It was an abysmal.
I didn't actually see the Endo one now, but it's
it's not a great. It isn't a great tackle, and there's been a few bits and pieces. But do you know what? It's been great, and City and Chelsea served up an absolute treat.
There might be the wrong decision, but in a way, I'm glad they did intervene, and you can just focus on the football that was played. I just think you are going to get mistakes from time to time, but I'm glad there were no big decisions affected by VAR. That's the most pleasing.
No, I'd agree with that, guys.
It just shows you I'm a bit of a conspiracy theory guy. So I said, I was like, everyone's kind of been talking about VAR intervening too much, and I said, probably watch this weekend and they'll intervene as possible, because everyone says they've been sticking the nose in too much. And then all of a sudden we've had a weekend where they've really not had a massive effect. But then watch after the international break, we're back to normal again. So make the most of it.
This is where I made the point the other night, Stu. Now's the time. Let's have a discussion with all 20 clubs. How can we make it better?
Yeah, I mean, look. Yeah, I mean, some of the lads will go away now, won't they, for a couple of days? I wouldn't. If I wasn't in an international side. I'd be making sure that the gaffer picks me against Everton. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be in solid. Do some shooting practice, whatever I needed to do. I would be in solid and making sure. And going back to what I was saying earlier, guys, about the thrill of and the enjoyment of actually wanting to play for Manchester United, that's what you would be doing. Sorry, love. We'll go shopping after, but I'm going in. Going in, and we'll do that. So, listen, guys, I've thoroughly enjoyed a proper football chat tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't bother with any scores, stuff of that nature. We didn't need to. I just wanted a good old honest football chat. So guys, been a very poignant day today. Obviously, Remembrance Sunday. I hope you all wore your poppies. Thank you for everyone who's kept us safe and protected you throughout the decades that I've been alive, and the decades before me. That's our grandparents and all our family members. So thank you very, very much. Thank you to everyone that's serving currently as well. We're not always as grateful as we should be, I don't think, as individuals, but trust me, we are. So thank you very much for that. Also, and I'll hand over to Dan in a minute, please check up on anybody around you that you may not have heard from. Just make sure people are okay, because mental health's a big thing. So you can abuse me at Stu Woolley anytime you feel free. Dan, you have your own podcast, don't you, fella? So please let us know.
Yeah, I'll be the best version of yourself. It's on Spotify. It tackles stigma around my epilepsy, my gambling addiction, and mental health in general. It just helps raise awareness, get the word out there, like you just touched on there. Reach out to people, anybody that you haven't heard of, a friend, a family member. You know, I think if we understand and we raise awareness, and you know, we can all help each other. So yeah, if you could check that out, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Johnny K, fresh from the sun bed, rather than the sun tan. Where can we find you, old friend?
Yeah, you can find me at John_Kermad too, and obviously agree with you, Stu, regarding the comment on Remembrance Sunday. But of course, it's the day we say farewell to Bobby tomorrow as well. You know,
yeah, big day for everyone. I don't know whether the channel's going to be doing anything tomorrow night, or any other channels that I'm involved with, or you guys. So I don't know about that. But yes, poignant day tomorrow.
Bobby. And I should also wish my brother Michael, who's a City fan, he's 30 years old tomorrow. So
fair enough. Commiserations and happy birthday.
Yes,
nice.
But no, he's done marathons in Prague over the weekend. So yeah, it's a very happy birthday to my brother, and hopefully we catch you up later on in the season.
Thank you again, guys. I don't know what's coming on the channel, but please tune in for All for United WFC and All for United as well. I think there'll be some midweek mayhem where Dan and Johnny K may be back on. Who knows? Who knows? I might even make an appearance on that again. I don't know. Who knows?
It could be a big week for us. Could be a big week.
Could be a very, very, very big week. But thank you all very, very much. We thoroughly appreciate you. Thank you to everybody. And NT says, sorry, Johnny came. I thought it was with your brother.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much, guys. And we're out of here. Take care. Bye-bye.